Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to today's weekend reflections on this, the 10th of August 2024. I hope you are well in these very difficult and testing times. There's a lot of concern at the moment within, I think, all communities in the UK with the rioting, with protesting, with people getting violent. These are really difficult times to navigate, and I pray it doesn't get worse, but you never know how things are going to turn out. But in that, we all have a part to play in that. So have a look in one of Mawlana Shaykh Nazim's books for any inspiration that may be able to help us in these times. And I went back to this old one from the 1980s, Mercy Ocean's Hidden Treasures. And I'm not going to read the whole sohbet, but there's part of this sohbet on page 95 of the book, which I think is very useful for us in these sorts of circumstances. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The sons of Adam may be seen walking in two different ways. Some of them are believing in and seeking the absolute truth, while others are not believing and not asking to be anything more than what they are. They say it is good enough for us to be on the same level as animals. We are not in need of believing in anything, and we are not believing only in this life and trying to derive more and more pleasure from eating, drinking, dancing, and sex. These are the unbelievers. The first group are believers, but it is not enough for believers merely to believe, but they must prepare themselves. For there are so many enemies waiting to ambush the believer. They are the ego, or the lower self, Satan, the accursed devil, vain desires, and this life's pleasures, along with the unbelieving people who run after them. So a believer must be very vigilant in guarding his faith and beliefs, as these are the most precious things he has, giving him everything in this life and the next. With faith we may improve so as to attain the highest degrees in the divine presence. And if we hope to be able to keep that faith, we must learn how we can defend it in the face of the attacks of our enemies. The best way of doing this is not merely preserve it at its present level, but to strengthen it always and put it safely out of reach of the hands of our enemies. Now, I'm actually wearing a t-shirt here with Gustur Sheikh Abdurrahman Wahid, who was an Indonesian sheikh. He also, for a short time, was democratically elected president of Indonesia. And on the back, well, actually on the front, it says here as well, not just on the back, God needs no defense. See, God needs no defense. Now, Allah does not need defense. Sometimes you get Muslims today, they come out and they want to defend the religion of Islam. They think that is defending faith. They think this is what the Sheikh means here. They think that's what the verses in the Quran and in the Hadith that are referring to the similar things are referring to. But the faith is here. The faith is what's in our heart. If we let the circumstances that we are in change our nature, change how we're behaving, so we become just like the very people that we are responding to or trying to manage, then we become no better than them. Except for La ilaha illallah. But there's no evidence of La ilaha illallah if we end up behaving like the people who are coming against us. There's no evidence of it. So we have to work on ourselves and make sure we protect the faith which is in ourselves. As Mawlana says, Grand Sheikh, that's Sheikh Abdullah Rafayaz Dagestani, was teaching us how we can put our faith in safety and strengthen it. In facing unliked events like what we're going through now, a believer must keep his heart, keep his faith, and keep his balance. This is very important. He is like a tightrope walker. He must be very careful not to lose his balance. If he leans over just a little far, one way or the other, he will fall. Likewise, a believer must move through the difficulties with perfect composure. Those unliked events knock the faith out of so many people. They are falling out of faith, but not feeling it. This is not about words. People might be claiming even Allahu Akbar on their lips, but it's what's in the heart. It's what's the overall condition of the person. This is what's important. Those unliked events knock the faith out of so many people. They are falling out of faith, but not feeling it. They're not feeling it because they're saying they are. But their behavior, their actions, you will lose your faith if you are not careful. You must know that every event, whether likable or unlikable, happens by His will, by God's will. You must not look at it as if it is coming from people around you. Rather, you must realize that the original cause is Allah Almighty. No need to look for causes after Him. Grand Sheikh says that every time you look to the secondary cause, you are mistaken and have fallen down from faith in your Lord. For example, you may be walking down the street when a football hits you on the head, knocking off your turban. If you look back to see who hit your head with that football, you not fall down from the level of real faith. Why did you look back? Do you not know that the initial cause is your Lord? And that whoever kicked that ball at you is only a secondary cause? What do you have to do with secondary causes when you know the origin of all causes? If you are a real believer in your Lord, then why are you angry with that boy and looking back to see who struck you with that football in order to quarrel with him and make trouble, fitna? If you continue walking, then there will be no quarrel, no fitna, no badness springing up. Therefore, one of the main desirable results of being patient in the face of unliked things is that it promotes peace in the world among its people. We must practice holding our tempers and being patient. For every time we are successful, the way of real faith is opened up to us. This is a most important thing for believers. They must keep their positions firmly, like mountains. Winds and typhoons may be coming at it from every side since the beginning of creation, wishing to push the mountain out of its place. But the mountain stands firm, unyielding. And in like manner, a believer must keep his position unwavering, even though unliked events shower on him from all sides. A believer will always hold to his faith, prepared to regard Allah Almighty as first cause of everything that befalls him. This is a sign of real faith. If someone is only pleased in the event of good happenings and displeased with disagreeable events, then this is not real faith. The example there was used of a football knocking a turban off, or causing aggravation in that way. Obviously, what we're dealing with is much bigger than that. And I'm not suggesting anybody shouldn't be careful, and if they're in a situation where they have to defend themselves, that's a different matter. But that's defense. Being patient, doing what needs to be done to protect yourself, but not to aggravate, to escalate, to make things worse. In times such as these, it is vital that we do not be part of the escalation of the problems. Real strength is holding fast to our beliefs and our principles, even when everyone around us goes mad and does not hold to theirs. That's a sign of real faith, of a real Muslim. And this is just a reminder, and it is a reminder for myself before anybody else. I pray everyone is safe. Pray things calm down. and these matters are resolved. But the underlying issues at the heart of this do not seem to be being addressed. And so I fear that this may go on, even if it calms down in the short term. I fear that in the long term, that this situation is not likely to disappear. So it is vital that, as Mawlana Shaykh Nazim said, that we prepare ourselves for situations such as these, and don't lose our heads. Keep to our faith and strengthen the faith, that faith that's inside of us. We don't need to defend the religion. God will defend his religion. But we need to protect our own faith. We need to protect our own character and our own souls. And the best way to do that is working on ourselves and making sure that we stay balanced in the face of circumstances that are really testing and unbalancing for every single one of us. May Allah bless you all. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this. And I hope it's useful. And if I've said anything which is useful and beneficial, then I give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my parents and my sheikhs, because all of the thanks goes back to them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of God be with you all.